Was this 18-month refit a good idea? After all the delays, setbacks and offspring we encountered while trying to get our broken Amel Super Maramu back to good condition, we can't help but ask ourselves, did we make the right decision taking on this task? It's been extremely stressful.
It's been a lot of headaches.
This week we dive into the financial numbers of the project to fully understand how much we spent and whether we are ahead or not.
Big breath. G'day!
Hey!
How's it going?
Very good.
Yeah?
Very good.
Where are we?
We are in Australia.
Australia!
We have escaped the boat and we have flown back to Australia over the last 3 days.
Yeah.
And we're spending family time with... Hang on. No, those are my nice sunglasses. We are spending Christmas time with family and we're very much relaxed and enjoying life away from all the misery and problems of that boat.
Yes, yes. Just enjoying having a lot of extra hands for the kids, enjoying the somewhat cooler climate, and yeah, it's been great so far.
So today we're going to do a little run around this wildlife reserve called Blackbutt, from where I'm from in Newcastle. And just after this little segment we're going to get into the numbers of basically how much it has cost to repair and buy our boats. We wanted to give a clear financial picture to our viewers, to anybody thinking about doing this in the future. Did we make a good decision? Was it a terrible decision?
Yeah.
You'll find out in this video.
A lot of you have been asking, so stay tuned for that. But right now, let's go see some koalas and kangaroos and whatnot.
Whatnot. Got some vocal cords on her. So today will be, wow, it's noisy. Today will be our kids' first experience with Australian animals. So I think we've got some wombats, we've got a lot of different parrots, a few rock wallabies, I believe. We really want to capture their faces and like see if they're like really inquisitive.
We've got the two major ones.
What's the two major ones?
The koala and the kangaroo.
Oh yes, koalas and kangaroos.
And the wombats, love the wombat. We should have a wombat on the boat.
Yeah, pet
That'd be
wombat.
something, yeah. Snuggle up to that one.
Little mascot.
You don't need a pillow, yeah? Just lay on that.
The wombats don't really want to poke their head out, but we got a little one on film. The kids unfortunately didn't get to see much of him.
It's funny, this is literally like Kieran's backyard where he grew up. But for me, this is very exciting. This is kind of a sanctuary, so it's not a zoo, which is, you know, very good. I don't know who's more excited, me or the kids.
Isabel. Isabel is more excited. Look at him, Bluebell. Look at him. Woo. G'day, mate. How you going? Staying out of the sun? Keeping cool?
Aw, he's adorable.
That was nice and close. Hey. Get past the bodies. They're like you were about by, an hour ago. Look at the koala bears. They're sleeping more than you are. Oh, he's so tame. Okay, we have made it to my mother's house. We are staying here. It's very lovely. Christmas is a great time to be around family, isn't it?
Yes, and helping hands.
And helping hands.
Which is greatly appreciated.
Yes, we feel a lot lighter without the kids.
I feel like we're missing a limb or two.
As we said, we're going to get into the numbers today, and we've broken up the numbers into 3 different categories. The number 1 category is the boat and the essential costs that we spent on the boat itself. That is everything that we put physically in and onto the boat. The second category is essential costs that we incurred but did not go onto the boat. These are like marina fees and a whole bunch of other things, which we will get into. The third is basically elected boat costs. They are basically things that we didn't need to spend, but we wanted to spend. We wanted to make our boat homey, and we wanted to really make it ours, exactly right. That third category is kind of like luxuries that we decided to put in, which we didn't have to, but we wanted to.
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. So first off, basically the first major cost of the boat was buying the wrecked boat.
The boat itself.
The boat itself. So we purchased the boat in an island in Indonesia called Batam. We previously sailed with this particular boat, previous owners, friends of ours, and they had this incident. So we agreed to buy it basically off the insurance company for 20,000 US. Actually, while I'm here, I'll say all these numbers are going to be in US dollars.
Yeah.
So everybody knows. So that was our first cost. We then registered the vessel in an Australian registration here in Australia. Just makes it more simple if we ever do sell it. And so we spent $1,000 on the registration. And here comes the big one, is the mast. So we looked at a few different mast companies, but we knew that the Swedish company Sailboat had made a mast set for the Amel Super Maramu before, and we got in contact with that particular owner of that Super Maramu, and they said good things, and we saw that, and we really felt confident going with Sailboat. Not only were we confident with kind of the structure and the mast, but Sailboat, I believe, has given us a fantastic price.
They made the choice pretty clear to us.
It did.
To go with
it did. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
It was very simple for us to make that choice because the cost they gave us was quite nice. So that cost came in at 25,000 US for the main mast and the rigging, not including the forestay and the furling, the head sail furling system. I feel so tense. I need to relax.
Don't like to talk about money, do you?
No, it's not that. There's lots of numbers going on. The mast shipping, so we shipped the mast from Sweden down to Malaysia. That was 3,800 US. We trucked the mast from Port Klang in Malaysia to Pankor Marina. That was 1,000 US. That was a bit of a task which we've never done before, so that was quite interesting. We installed cables in the mast. That came out at about 500 US, so that's anchor light, that's Windex cable, and that's a few other power cables for various lights. We got clutches for our ropes, for our running rigging. So the clutches are ridiculously priced. We got 2 triple clutches, and that price came in at about 900 US. That was a very painful day to spend that much money on something so small. And we also got the Pro Furl furling system. Our rigger recommended us to go with Pro Furl, and we decided to heed his advice. So the Pro Furl furling system cost us $4,400 US. And on top of that, we have the rigger / crane / cherry picker. So going through this process, I have not done something like this before, and it's not something we want to stuff up, is it? No. There's one rigger basically in Asia that everybody uses, and so we ended up deciding better to be safe than sorry, to use this guy and just have everything as it should. So our rigger RY cost us, with the crane and a cherry picker and a few things, 4,000 US. So that is kind of the whole mast, all the costs around that.
The mast saga.
Let me add those up quickly. So in total, the mast, the furling system, the rigger, it cost us $39.6 thousand US. And when you talk to mast companies, when you talk to the industry, that figure is, I think, quite good, very reasonable for us. Next, we had to buy a gearbox because our gearbox out the front of Klein, when we were motoring it from Batam to Pancourt, it gave out. So I got a refurbished gearbox out of France, which was quite nice. It's in good condition, and we spent 1,700 US on that gearbox. Fiberglasser, so we had multiple protrusions in the top of the deck, and we also had some structural damage along one of the bulkheads. So we really wanted to get the structural and also all the patches done properly, and so we employed a fiberglasser in the marina, and that was another big cost, which I actually didn't see coming. That cost us $7,000 US.
Yeah. Can I also add here, like, we initially wanted to do most of these things by ourselves, but if you remember, I was very pregnant with twins, so what I could do was very limited. You were at the boat every day, all day, and then when the twins were born, I need to attend to them. That's my first priority. So we decided to have help, fiberglassers and riggers and these people to help us out.
And we really want to bring the boat back to a original standard. We would like to maybe eventually sell the boat for what they're worth, which is, 180, 200,000 US. So we wanted the boat to be brought back to a good standard, and if I tried the fiberglass work, I don't know if that would have happened.
I'm sure it'd be fine, but we also wanted to bring down the time frame because we really wanted to get out there cruising. As you know, we mentioned a few times.
Which hasn't happened at all.
No, but that was our initial thought. So.
And Malaysia, the heat in Malaysia is just unbelievable. So trying to work outside, fiberglassing a boat, that sounded like torture to me. Yeah. I think if we could do this again, we would not do it in the tropics.
In the UK or something.
It was just unbearable at times. Yeah. It still is. I mean, we're still there. So railing repair. So Super Maramus have this hard railing that go around the side of the boat all the way to the bow. We had a welder repair that completely, and it's looking great. That repair cost 700 US. Anti-fouling, I attempted to do the anti-fouling myself, but I got a bit, I got a bit overwhelmed by the size and the job at hand. I tried to take it back to the gel coat, and it was just too much for me, and we had to go back to Sweden.
Task, yeah.
We had the twins which had to be born, and we had to go to Australia and then Sweden. It was a big process. Yeah. We ended up employing somebody in the end, and it was probably the best decision we made. That anti-fouling cost us 2,000 US, and the guy's done a beautiful job. Anchor roller. So during the crash, the anchor roller, which holds the anchor and lets the chain out in a nice way, that was completely bent and destroyed. The anchor roller had been redone by a welder in beautiful stainless steel. We love it. it cost $1,200 US. For the final boat essential cost, we had davits, which were also broken in the crash. I wanted to bring the davits back to a really good condition so we can use those to hoist our dinghy. So we spent $700 US on the davits, which I think is pretty affordable. So in total, if you had this boat and you put it in your backyard and you didn't have any marina costs and you didn't have any of those other things, those other headaches.
And did what we did,
We spent $72,900 US just on the boat itself, on the things which we put on, which were the essential costs.
Until this day,
Until this day, yes. Oh, we will be buying sails, and that's probably the last and only cost which we have to spend on the boat.
Can I just, before you move on to the next point? Initially we were looking at used masts. And we were looking high and low and different things like this. We wanted to get second hand, and we're believers in that, and that would have been great. But it was just not possible. So that's why we went with a lot of new things. It was great that we got the gearbox second hand, and that part of the engine seems to be working great. But yeah, we simply couldn't find it.
Yeah, it's interesting. When I first looked at the boat, I thought, oh, we can get this all sorted quite easily for a cheap price. And going through the process, we realised, oh no,
it needs to fill these criteria.
You need a very perfect mast for this boat, and to try and find one is extremely difficult.
Again, you probably could have gone with a mast that didn't really fit and it would do the job, but we wanted to bring the boat back to life and sell it for what she's worth later
eventually.
On. So,
Eventually. Yep. Okay, now we're talking about essential boat costs that we had to spend that have got nothing to do with the actual boat itself. So when we bought it in Batam, the yard there was charging a stupid small fortune to leave the boat there. So by the time we took ownership and we packed up our apartment and we packed up our job, we had racked up a $4,500 US bill at the Batam yard. That was a really painful day.
That was very hard,
That was a really painful day. We then checked out of Batam and Indonesia. That was an expensive process in itself. That was $400 US just to check out.
And it took a couple of days.
It took a couple of days. We then proceeded to try and motor to Pancor Marina. We were assured by the previous owner that the boat was capable of doing this. And unfortunately our gearbox gave out the front of Port Klang, which is about 90 miles short of our destination. We were trying to get 300 in total, and we just made it 90 miles short.
If you haven't watched that video,
click up here.
Go in and have a look. That was stressful.
So at Port Klang we spent $900 US to leave the boat there for a month. So that was actually quite affordable, but still we didn't really like that idea. Okay, so we left the boat in Port Klang and we flew back to Sweden, I believe. And we spent a holiday season in Sweden. So the boat was pretty safe in Klang and we were happy to leave it there. We had this holiday planned for a while. And then eventually we came back to the boat in Klang and we needed to figure out how to get the boat from Klang to Pancor Marina. And that was a big process. We were looking at a bunch of different options, but in the end we called James, the marina manager at Pancor, and he was a lifesaver. He was an absolute lifesaver, and he was very accommodating. He said, I'll come pick you up for a price. That price was $900 US, and that was cheap compared to some of the other prices which we were getting from other people. That was very cheap. So we're very happy for James. James, if you're watching, thank you very much. Thank you so much. There's various fees which I've accumulated into one cost, but basically visas, accommodation, ferries. To go look at the boat in Batam, we had to spend about $350 US. To stay at some accommodation there, we had to, $350 US, that's kind of various. And then we had flights. So I flew to look at the boat, then I flew back to Australia. Isabel and I eventually flew up to the boat together, and then there were flights back to Australia. So flights incurred in trying to buy this boat in Batam about 4,500 US, which is absurd, but we had to spend that. That's a cost that we had to spend in order to buy this boat in the tropics. You know, it wasn't in our backyard. And finally, the big one, which is the Pancor Marina fees. So we spent a total of 7,500 US so far.
The boat's still there.
So we looked at a lot of different marinas around Asia, and Pancor was probably the most affordable and the most welcoming, and there is a great atmosphere there. So we're very happy that we chose that place, especially because we spent 6 months in Sweden having the babies. So it actually worked out really well for us. So that figure, 7,500, a lot of that is pretty much the boat just sitting there while we're in Sweden having the babies and trying to bring them into the world in the safest, nicest way we can.
Yeah. Well, we did life in between. I mean, that's what we did.
Yeah.
That's things that we needed to do.
So essential non-boat costs basically come in at 19,000 US dollars. So the last category, elected boat costs or wants, which we wanted to spend on the boat to make it our home, they're not too bad actually. So we had to buy an air conditioner because it's Malaysia. That was about 200 US. We got upholstery done for our beds, for our couches, and overall that came in at 1,100 US. And we're really happy to have new beds because the old boat before had just mold everywhere, and we really didn't like that, did we? It wasn't very nice. We galvanized the chain, so we had a pretty old anchor chain and we really wanted to spruce that up, so we spent 500 US on galvanizing the chain. We really wanted a bed in the aft cabin, which was a proper queen bed, which you have in your home probably.
No more boat beds.
No.
Been there, done that.
So there were two big costs involved. So we went to IKEA and we bought a bed and various plates and pots and pans and cutlery. So IKEA shop plus bed was about 1,100 US. We had to employ a carpenter to basically make up a bed frame in the aft cabin which could support a bed like we wanted. So we spent 1,200 US dollars on that, and we're really happy with that, aren't we? The bed frame, the bed, it's great.
It's amazing.
We also spent 400 US dollars on a polish and wax. The boat had a lot of crap along the sides. It was
old sticker stains.
It didn't look good. No. We just wanted to give it a fresh spruce up. You want to take pride in your home. So we spent 400 US on a polish and wax. And finally, the big one, we didn't actually have to rebuild our engine. We could have left it, possibly, but we wanted to start fresh. We wanted to start as fresh as we could and go out cruising and not have to worry about an engine that may or may not work.
It was also from 92, so giving it a birthday was due.
Can't hurt, So we spent 4,800 US dollars on rebuilding our engine, which is still ongoing.
Yeah, it is.
But we've spent that money and the mechanic is covering everything to get the engine back to us in a good condition. We don't have to spend any more. So the elected boat costs, or our wants, came in at 9,400 US dollars. So that's pretty much everything that we've spent. Basically the whole total of all three categories come in at 101,300 US dollars.
Big breath.
Is that a lot? Is that more? I think that's more than I wanted to spend originally. I didn't see it going that high. But is that under the value of the boat? If we sold it today, I believe so. I think we could get 150,000 US at the very least.
But we're also putting money in because it's going to be our home. We're not going to sell it straight away. It's going to be our home, and
for sure, we're spending money on it because it's our pride and joy.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, for me, I have to understand if I've put more money in it than I should have. So 101,000 US dollars. I feel like we've made a pretty good investment so far.
Yes.
There is one more cost, as I said, sails. So we'll be spending, we've already got them priced up, 2,000 US on a main, 2,000 US on a Genoa, and we'll be picking those up in Thailand.
We might also add that we are aware that there are more boat jobs not needed to be done, but that we want to get done, like the patches that we've done on the bow. It's not looking crash hot, so
the Bimmy and Dodger is looking ordinary as well.
Things like that.
There's cosmetic things which we're going to improve up over time.
But not right now.
We just want to go cruising, to be honest. We just made the boat, sailable and comfortable. Yeah. We'll get to the cosmetic things, we'll get fine tuning and painting and all the rest later on. But we're pretty happy with how much we spent on her. So when we walked into this whole process, we had a figure in the bank which we thought was more than enough to do the refit. And it's gone okay, but it's because of our patrons and you guys watching as well. It's basically you guys are making this possible. Yes. I can't express that enough.
Sounds very cliche and made up, but that's really it.
These videos which we make every week, which we try and put a lot of energy into, they've basically allowed us to afford this. Because if we didn't have these videos coming in every week, we'd probably be in a deficit right now. We probably wouldn't be able to afford to go cruising. So we want to thank definitely our patrons. There's been a select few that have really contributed recently. You know who you are, and a big thank you.
Huge thank you guys.
I hope this has been an insight into the finances behind what it costs to do this kind of thing. It's been extremely stressful.
It's been a lot of headaches.
If I could go back to Kieran when he first looked at the boat in Bataan, I would probably just be like, thanks, but no thanks.
Knowing what you know now.
Knowing what I know now, with a bit of hindsight. But, we've done it and it's been an experience. And so hopefully we finally get to go cruising.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't plan for me to be pregnant with twins either and have 2 newborns.
That threw a huge spanner in the works. That threw a huge spanner in the works.
So, but we made it work. We took more time off from the boat than we initially thought we would, but we're doing the best we can and gonna go cruising very soon.
Please, I just want to go cruising.
Alright guys, cheers for watching.
Thanks for watching.